Hello again. It's the 14th of April, and it's just on 2 weeks and, well, sorry, 3 weeks now into the lockdown. 3 weeks. And I spoke to my GP, also my good friend, this afternoon, and he's convinced it's going to be another 2 weeks after this supposedly ends in a week's time. So we might have another 3 weeks yet, but let's hope not. However, today I'm going to talk to you what something happened to me, and it was very exciting. And I mean, 12 or 13 people could have easily drowned. It was 1976, and I was a very keen scuba diver, and we used to go out in boats, charter boats, up to the famous Poor Knight Islands, or some places like that. And one of the guys we went out with had a big 40-foot launch. He was a keen scuba diver himself, and he was quite a character. A little guy with short curly hair, he'd be about 40, and he didn't have any qualifications, and his boat wasn't surveyed, and he certainly wasn't surveyed to take passengers. But that's just a side sort of issue. Anyway, we went out there. My dear Estelle was out with me as well. And we had all our dive gear and bottles and all sorts. And we'd spend a few days on the eastern side because it was quite sheltered there. And we did some really good dives, and we ran out of air. We had to go and get our tanks filled. And we were just about run out of booze. In fact, we had run out of booze. So the decision was made to go around the south side of Great Barrier Island, past Cape Barrier, round into a little port called Tryphena, where we could get air, booze, and more supplies. So we set off, and it was rough when we set off, but it got rougher and rougher and rougher. Good 25 knots of wind, and there's quite a bit of chop coming from the southwest. And I was, we're taking a lot of spray, and all the decks are awash and stuff. And I was getting a little bit perturbed because it appeared to me that the boat was settling down by the stern a bit. And so we were heading into the wind, and it's settling down by the stern all the time. And then the water started to come in, the waves started to come away in the surging, and the water kept surging in the cutaway stern. God, this is not very good. Obviously, something is very wrong. So I said to the skipper, I said, Trevor, listen, we've got to turn around. And he luckily took my advice, professional advice, and he turned around, and we headed back to, around for shelter, and we put the wind right on the stern. And I got everybody to go right up forward. And a friend of mine, we held a large plastic bag up, well, actually plastic sheet, and we held it down after stop any more water coming in. Luckily, the engines kept going, but we knew, we looked down to the engine room, and it was half full of water. In fact, the water was nearly up to the alternators. Many tons of water in the engine room. Oh. And she nearly went down. I mean, we just got round a little point of land in time, and managed to get an anchor down. It held, and I screamed bail for your lives, and all women and girls were coming out with the pots from the galley and the buckets, and God, we bailing like hell, and you bail for your lives. And as I said, my famous expression was, there's no such an efficient bilge pump as a frightened man with a bucket. And we got this thing bailed out nearly no time. And luckily, the bilge pumps were still working as they should if they're submerged. And we dried the boat out. And now looking back now, it was so very close to going down. If we'd gone for another 100 meters or 200 meters, I'm sure that boat would have sunk. and none of us had life jackets on, and none of us had wetsuits on. And although we were young and fit, to swim the several hundred meters to the shore in rough conditions, and then it was the cliffs. We'd be bashed to death against the cliffs there on rocks and stuff. It was a cold sweat. So anyway, we had a sort of a good relaxing time after that, and drunk the rest of our whiskey or beer or whatever we had, and decided, no, we're staying here for another night and then wait till the weather gets better. And what was wrong actually was a pipe had come off the saltwater cooling system. A 1.5 inch pipe, quite a big pipe, had come off, and it was the water was flooding into the engine room through this pipe that had come off, and it wasn't good. So anyway, very nearly, we would have lost several lives, if not all of us would have gone down with the boat and tried to swim ashore. But anyway, that was just another little episode in my life. So there we are.